Hi and welcome to Old School Blues Guitar, and it's time for our classic blues song breakdown for March and April 2016. This month by request I've got an epic Magic Sam song called I Don't Want No Woman, and this is a great song. There's a lot of super guitar in this song and I'm going to break it down as much as I can. It's a long song, and rather than go through every single line and phrase, I've tabbed all that out for you. But what I want to do is teach you the introduction and the end tag, plus the two solos note for note. And then I want to go through some ideas in the chords and the fills that he plays over throughout the entire song, rather than going through each individual verse. I have done that in the tab to the best of my ability. Again, I do not claim to be an expert on Magic Sam. This is just me listening to this stuff, trying to figure it out based on what I know. I do know that Magic Sam played without a pick, thumb and fingers. I can't do that, so I'm going to use a flat pick. And if you have anything to add to this lesson, anything you spot that I'm doing wrong or that you think Sam did differently, I'd love to hear it to figure this stuff out. Let's get right into the song. And listening to it on the recording, it's in the key of B. And if you get your first position bar chord, B chord, I've got my barring finger, my first finger across the 7th fret. And most of what he's going to play in this song is going to be within the boundaries of the first position blues box. And that includes the fills and the chord things that he throws in there. It's really a great song. It's a great song for lead playing and for rhythm playing, because Magic Sam does a lot of really cool stuff with the chords, and I'll get to that later. Let's start with the introduction. And I'm just going to play it one phrase at a time. Again, like all my lessons, I'm depending on you to listen to the original recording and see what I'm doing here. I don't have backing tracks, so I think it's better if I just show you what's going on, and you can listen to the recording. So he starts out with a little phrase like this in B. And I'm not sure. Some sounds like that. And it sounds to me like he's going to the 10th fret of the first string, to the 7th fret of the first string, and then the 7th fret of the second string. So he starts out, and then he goes to this phrase. And this is a typical Magic Sam type lick. If you listen to songs like I Have the Same Old Blues and tunes like that, he does a lot of this. So he's starting on the 10th fret of the first string, and he's going to do this, where he goes from the 10th fret to the 7th fret, back to the 9th fret on the first string, and then winds up on the 9th fret of the second string. And then he goes back to the 7th fret of the first string, and then 10, 8, 7 on the second string. So the whole introduction so far. Actually, I just added some more to it. So he does this. This little phrase he's going to use over and over again. Freddie King used the same thing in the middle of a lot of his fills and lead lines. Got his first finger anchored on the second string, 7th fret, and he's going to bounce up or bend up on the 3rd string at the 9th fret. I'm using both my 2nd and 3rd fingers on the 8th and 9th frets. And you get that. So the whole thing. Whoops. So he's going to go 9th fret of the 3rd string. Then he's going to bounce back and forth between the 7th fret of the 3rd string and the 9th fret of the 4th string. And that's the first part of the solo. So we're just walking through all this, and if you notice, it's all right there between the 10th and the 7th frets in the key of B. So the whole thing so far. And then he's going to go into this. So he's going to start on the 9th fret of the 4th string. And he's going to climb in really to that B shape. 9 or 7, 8 on the 3rd string. And then the 7th fret of the 2nd string and the 1st string. And he's going to bounce back and forth again between the 7th fret of the 3rd string and the 9th fret of the 4th string. So that whole lick one more time. And I left out showing you exactly which notes, I think a little bit that time, but you can look at the tab and fill it in. Then he goes into this double stop. So it's got his first finger, I think, on the 10th fret of the 1st string, ring finger on the 9th fret of the 2nd string, and probably, at least this is how I do it, first finger barring at the 7th fret, 1st and 2nd strings. And so you get something like that. And I can't remember exactly what he does there if he goes, I think it's like this. And then one more time. He does this leading in from the 7th to the 8th fret on the 3rd string. And then he gets the 2nd string and the 1st string at the 7th fret. 10-8 or 10-7 on the 2nd string. There's that little hop again. This time, instead of bouncing back and forth like this, he's just going to wind up with 2 picks, pick twice on the 9th fret of the 4th string. So that whole last part. And then from here, he's going to do this little part. Into the first verse, and this is just a typical electric blues turnaround type thing, and it sounds to me, I'm not sure again, but like it sounds to me like he's sliding in this shape, which is like a D7. There's a D7th chord, and I'm just moving it in B to the 9th fret. Got my ring or 2nd finger on the 9th fret of the 3rd string. My ring finger is on the 9th fret of the 1st string, and I'm taking my 1st finger and putting it on the 8th fret of the 2nd string just to kind of balance it out. I like to do that. I don't like to just play it. You can do whatever you want. And it sounds to me like he's sliding from the 9th to the 11th to go into that. And then once he gets to the 10th, 11th fret on the 3rd string, he's going to pick the 1st and the 3rd strings back and forth. And he wraps it up with this little lick, which is another double stop. First finger on the 7th fret of the 1st string, which is a B. 2nd finger on the 8th fret of the 3rd string. Just sliding into really what is a B. Like that. So that whole part. And he does it again. And then plays this chord right here, which is a, oh, what is that? Is that a F sharp 7th? Took me a while to think through that. I'm not used to playing this chord in B. And this is what I like to call a Magic Sam 7th, because you hear Magic Sam use it all the time. Other guys use it too, but he uses it in a lot of his songs. So here's the shape. Got my first finger on the 7th fret of the 2nd string. My pinky is on the 9th fret of the 1st string. And then my 2nd finger is on the 8th fret of the 4th string. And my ring finger is on the 9th fret of the 3rd string. If you want to get the bass in there, you can wrap your thumb around to the 9th fret of the 5th string. But I think he's just playing that part. So the whole last part of the introduction. And then he heads into the first verse. So that is the introduction for Magic Sam's I Don't Want No Woman. We'll come back in a little bit, work on that, and we'll start the first verse and talk about the verses of the song.